This video will teach you all about how matter is classified. Chemistry is the study of matter and the changes it undergoes. Matter is considered anything that has mass and volume, which is really everything. Mass is considered the amount of matter in an object, how much stuff you have. Energy is anything that can do work or produce heat. And weight is the force of gravity acting on an object's mass. Here's some more review. Solids have a definite shape, have a definite volume, are not compressible, and have a high density. Liquids have an indefinite shape, a definite volume, they're not compressible, and are less dense than solids. Finally, gases have an indefinite shape, an indefinite volume, are compressible, and have very low density. As you might expect, these properties are a result of the fact that these particles have different spacings between each other. If you take a look at the animations, that will make this a little bit more clear. There are two major areas that matter is classified into: pure substances and mixtures. Pure substances have uniform and definite composition. For example, elements found on the periodic table, there are approximately 118 of them. These are described by the symbols hydrogen, helium, etc. H, He, copper, Cu. These are all examples of symbols that describe these elements. Compounds are formed when elements chemically combine. So for example, when you have H2O for water, CO2 for carbon dioxide, and NO2 for nitrogen dioxide. Both of these, both elements and compounds, are examples of pure substances because within a particular sample, all the things that make up that sample are the same. So for example, in a sample of water, you will always have 2 hydrogen bonded to 1 oxygen. Mixtures, on the other hand, is where you have 2 or more pure substances physically mixed together. In compounds, the elements are bonded to each other, whereas in mixtures, the substances are blended. There is no definite composition, which means you cannot assign a fixed ratio. Remember the example with water before? Water is always going to be 2 hydrogens to 1 oxygen. However, if you had a mixture of salt and sand, you can mix those really in any proportion that you wanted. You could have 2 to 1, you could have 1 to 1, you could have 3 to 1. So that's how you can quickly identify whether it's going to be a mixture or a pure substance such as a compound. There are 2 types of mixtures. If you look at the background of this PowerPoint presentation, you could probably guess which ones are mixtures and which ones are pure substances. The first type is a heterogeneous mixture. So a heterogeneous mixture does not have a uniform composition. Parts of the mixture can be physically seen and picked out of the mixture. For example, if you take a look at that cereal bowl. So for some other examples, pizza and salad are also heterogeneous mixtures because you can physically see the components that make up those mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures have a uniform composition. So these are parts of the mixture cannot be picked out. So for example, sugar, water, milk, even on the background of this PowerPoint presentation, the copper penny that you see there, pennies aren't entirely copper anymore. So if you notice the date, it's 1991. After a certain point, we started making mixtures out of these substances. And so whenever you have a mixture of metals, those are called alloys, and those are homogeneous mixtures. Same thing whenever you try to make some sort of drink from a powdered drink mix. When you mix those 2 things together, you end up with a homogeneous mixture because you can't pick out the individual water particles and you can't pick out the individual iced tea or lemonade particles. In class, most likely you had an exit ticket, so you might want to get that from your teacher. Hopefully this video was very helpful for you as you learn about pure substances and mixtures.